Halftime in Game 7, everything on the line. And at halftime, it's all square. At 49, I'm Ryder Bullock. We welcome you to the Hardwood Report at the half in a game that has been defined by contrast. Toronto has controlled the rhythm, dictated the tempo, and yet somehow Cleveland has managed to hang around. And that is why we are tied. We start with the Toronto Raptors. They led this game for 94% of the first half and built a lead as large as 10 and have been the more aggressive, more disruptive team. 7 steals, forcing 13 Cleveland turnovers. That's how Toronto has stayed in command despite not pulling away. They've also owned the interior offensively, 20 points in the paint, pushing the pace with 9 fast break points. This is a team that came in comfortable in tight games. We talked about that in the pregame show, and they've looked the part again tonight. But here's the problem if you're Toronto. You haven't capitalized. Only 15 rebounds total compared to Cleveland's 25. That's not just a gap. That's a problem. 7 offensive rebounds for the Cavaliers have led to second chances, extended possessions, and most importantly, survival. Cleveland hasn't led for a single second, yet they're walking into the locker room tied. And that tells you everything about their resilience and maybe something about Toronto leaving the door open. But then again, you could say the same thing about Cleveland. For Cleveland, though, the offense hasn't been pretty, just 42% from the field. But from beyond the arc, they've stayed within striking distance, 7 threes. And more importantly, they've lived at the free throw line. 12 made free throws to Toronto's 6. That's how you steady yourself in a Game 7. When the shots aren't falling, you manufacture points, you grind, and you wait for the game to turn. So now the question becomes simple. What carries into the second half? If Toronto keeps forcing turnovers and pushing the pace, they should be in control. But if Cleveland continues to dominate the glass and get to the line, this becomes exactly the kind of game that slips away late. Game 7 tied at the half. The margins are thin. The pressure is enormous. And the next 24 minutes will decide everything. Take you around the NBA in Detroit. A moment years in the making finally arrives. The Pistons are moving on. Cade Cunningham with 32 points and 12 assists. Tobias Harris heading 30 as Detroit dominates Orlando 116-94 in Game 7, securing its first playoff series victory in 18 years. For Cunningham, it caps a remarkable series, averaging over 32 points, and for the franchise, it marks a historic turnaround. The Pistons become just the 15th team in NBA history to rally from a 3-1 deficit, doing so with authority on their home floor. Detroit seized control in the second quarter behind Harris, who poured in 17 in the period and never looked back, stretching the lead to 20 early in the third. Jalen Duren added a critical presence inside with 15 points and 15 rebounds. For Orlando, Paolo Banchero led all scorers with 38, but the Magic struggled offensively down the stretch, managing just 113 points over the final 6 quarters of the series. The result, Detroit advances the second round and a date with the winner of the Cavaliers and the Raptors, while a young core signals that perhaps a new era of Pistons basketball has arrived. At the half, the Toronto Raptors and the Cavaliers are deadlocked, 49 apiece. And incredibly, 718 points each across the series. Toronto controlled the flow early, letting every second of the first half behind 14 points from Scotty Barnes and Jamal Shead. But Cleveland stayed within striking distance, despite shooting just 41% and committing 13 turnovers that led to 14 Raptors points. Cavaliers closed strong, an 11-2 run in the half, tightening defensively, holding Toronto without a field goal in the final 2 minutes. James Harden leads Cleveland with 10, while the Cavs bench, sparked by Sam Merrill, has outscored Toronto's second unit 20-9. Toronto trying to throw it up. They've been in control, but Cleveland has momentum heading into the second half, third quarter.